All the people say,
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing amazing. Just waiting on YouTube to load up here so I can turn it off. Hey, listen, my name is Sean Murphy, your international speaker, your trainer, your coach, your mentor. I hope you're doing amazing. Here it is, Friday, the first Friday of 2023. Are you ready? Are you ready for more? Are you ready to have joy in your life? Listen, let me ask you a question. This becomes a very sensitive question. Let me pull that off. I forgot to pull down the green screen. So, hey, good morning, everybody on Instagram. Good morning. Let me send some waves here. Good waves. There we go. Listen, today's conversation is about being sensitive. Now, it's not about sensitive like, oh, you're so sensitive. Oh, you can't deal with society. No. I'm talking about sensitive enough to be able to pick up on people's frequencies. See, this year, this conversation is going to be about becoming dangerously conscious. So in order to become dangerously conscious, you need to become aware. And in this awareness, you will wind up developing a level of sensitivity of understanding what's happening in the moment. See, if you listen carefully. Good morning, Nick. If you listen carefully to your story, if you listen carefully to your conversations, you want to have more money. Do you want to know why you have as much money as you have right now? One word: vibration. You may want to share this out. Go ahead and tag some people. Share this Instagram out. Share this live out with people, because this is going to allow you to have a conversation at a level that you never thought possible. It'll be unlike most trainings that you've experienced. So if you've got some people on your team, go ahead and share it out. The reason I want you to share it out is because you're not going to be able to explain this. Not in the way, not in the frequency that it needs to be, not in the subtlety that it needs to be. This is one of those trainings. This word sensitive is one of the things that Wallace talks about. It's not about doing certain things, being sensitive. It's about being sensitive in a certain way. And that's what I'm going to do my best to explain to you. So here's the thing. We are so hypersensitive right now because of society, because of racial tensions, because of economic tensions, you name it. We have developed a level of sensitivity, so much so that the number of people who wind up in dis-ease, it's because of their sensitivity. Follow me on this. They don't have what's known as mental toughness. So if we don't have mental toughness, we're constantly running this battle. We're constantly in the fight or flight. You follow me? And all too often, when we're in this fight or flight and we don't give ourselves a chance to calm down, maybe you've heard in a training, you've heard Joe Dispenza, or you've heard somebody speak of the deer that gets scared by the wolves and it runs off. Bloop, 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 there goes Bambi. 15 minutes, 20 minutes after it's done being chased, 15, 20 minutes after it's done being chased, it goes back to its homeostasis. It goes back to its general encounter. So it goes back to this state of being. It goes back to this, it's normal. Can I tell you, can I give you, can I ask you, do you know what normal feels like in your body? If you have 60, 70,000 thoughts a day, now Queen's University out of Canada says that we have about 6,500 thoughts. Those are 6,500 new thoughts. What they're measuring in the FMRI that they do, the study that they did, is new neural pathways being created. You created about 66,000, 6,500, 6,200 new neural pathways, new thoughts, new concepts, new ideas. What they didn't track, and what I don't believe they told you in the Paul Harvey rest of the story, is you still had your 60, 70, 80,000 thoughts from yesterday. Science shows that we have about 60, 70, 80,000 thoughts. The number's as high as 80,000 thoughts a day. Do you think it's possible that you've desensitized yourself? Have you heard that word, desensitized yourself? People who watch stuff online have become desensitized. There's some big studies about watching pornography online and how it has desensitized people. There's things where we call it addictions, right? Where somebody takes a little bit of a particular extracurricular drug, and then they need more to hit the high, and they need more to hit the high. Do you know what I'm talking about? People who, alcoholics, then I know some alcoholics personally that were family members. They could drink a case of beer and you wouldn't even know it. They had such a high what's the word I'm looking for? Such a high tolerance. And they desensitize themselves. How many of you grew up with the amount of physical activities in cartoons was a whole different level? How many of you grew up going to movies that were R-rated, that now they're PG-rated, and you wind up with this the gory and the blood and the this and just absolute sheer terror? Because we need to do that to draw more people in. Why do you think news headlines are so more graphic and so more pull you in? Because we're desensitized. So when I talk about becoming dangerously conscious in 2023 and using the word sensitive, what does becoming more sensitive have to do with becoming more conscious? I don't want to know the pain I'm in. I don't want to know the frustration I'm in. I don't want to know the lack that I have. I don't want to know that I can't pay my bills. I'm so desensitized. I'm so hypersensitive. Drop an HS in the chat if you know somebody who's hypersensitive. You're even afraid to bring up a topic around them. Does this make sense? Well, I can promise you this. There's a darn good chance that you're hypersensitive to your own success. There's so much that goes into you having and becoming aware of your own success. This hypersensitivity to money, this hypersensitivity to saying no, this hypersensitivity to lack is what's keeping you stuck. This hypersensitivity that I need another program. How many of you know somebody that I need one more training. I need one more training that's going to put it all together. They're so sensitive to the fact that they need one more. They need one more training. They need one more conversation. They need one more this, one more that. And it's an addiction. It's an addiction. See, if you were to take a circle and draw a circle on the paper, do I have a pad here somewhere? Here's my pad. If I were to draw a circle of awareness, right? A circle of all of your knowledge. If I take this marker and I draw a circle, that's everything you know. That's everything you know. Now, the challenge is that when you go and learn something, today the word might be sensitive. There winds up a little bump on it. That little bump that's down here, that little bump that's down here at the very bottom is your new level of awareness, and you become aware. The challenge with what you become aware of, what happens? What happens when you become what you're aware of? You become sensitized to what you're not aware of, because we have this feeling of, we run around with this addiction to approval and this lack. And our awareness says, if I learn that, oh my God, now I know what I don't know. And I'm so much less than I was before, because now I have, listen carefully. This is the rub. This is the thing that just absolutely cranks people and puts them under so much pressure. When you learn something new, don't you become more aware of things you're not aware of? Right? So if this is that little circle, and all of a sudden I have this little bit of awareness, and that little bit of awareness expands what I know, but it also expands me into the field of what I don't know. And I become sensitive to the fact that there's people who know more stuff than I know. And then I wind up beating myself up. And then I go down these rabbit holes. Drop an RH in the chat if you've ever gone down a rabbit hole of needing to learn more so that you could fit in. And then, Sean, you want us to become sensitive? You want me to become more sensitive? Are you kidding me? I'm so raw right now. I feel like I'm so beat up right now that I can't even go into the learning world without realizing how much of an idiot I am. Well, today that stops. If you choose to, today that stops. If you choose to. If it's okay, today's the day that stops. Would that be okay? How do we deal with that? 3 little words, 4 little words. Do you want to be an or kind of person or an and kind of person? See, all too often we're given 2 choices. We're given do this or that. But how many of you are an and person? Drop and in the chat if you are an and person. You don't want to have to do this or that. You want to do this and that. You follow me? So type and in the chat if you want to do this and that. You want to love your family and create thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You want to do your art and create your income. See, all too often we have been given a choice, and the choice is or. This or that, this or that. Mom or business babe, mom or boss babe, dad or I don't even know. Do we have boss dads? I'm sure we have boss dads. but babe or bitch, we have these extremes that we go through. What if and started to flow into your life? So when you're starting to feel the stress, when you're starting to feel the pressure, I want you to say these words. And I love that. That word and is so powerful. When you become a little frustrated, agitated, challenged, just breathe. You want to get rid of the stress. You want to get rid of the desensitization. Simply say this. Oh, and you got to feel it. You got to feel it. And I love that. Oh, that's just a bunch of crap. And I love that. Oh, Jesus, that seems so stupid. I'm frustrated, aggravated. I can't pay my bills. And I love that. How am I supposed to love not paying my bills? See, you're desensitized to becoming sensitive to the solution. Listen carefully. How big of a shift? Listen carefully. This is the dangerous consciousness teaching right now. How big of a shift does it take to start your journey towards your greatness? I'm not saying how big of a shift will it take. How big of a shift will you be encumbered with? How big of a shift will be it from now until 10 years from now? I'm talking about what is this? What is the amount of shift? What is the amount of energy? What is the amount of focus necessary to start the transition? Isn't it just a little bit? Isn't it just the slightest little 1 degree? If it's got to be a huge thing, maybe the plan isn't big enough. Maybe the focus isn't on a bigger picture. All too often we're narrowed down into this finite, this minuscule. We have to deal with this. We're dealing with too many small things that don't allow us to build to our big thing. It's why we get so frustrated. I'm doing all the work. No. You're doing all the work to stay busy. You're not doing all the work to build. You're not doing the high end. You're not doing the mountaintop conversations. You're sticking down in the valley thinking you're at the mountaintop. You're not. You're just not. You're wanting to deal with all of the little mini fires, and you're not building your own fire. You're putting out everybody else's fire. Some of you are so exhausted, you can't breathe because all you're doing is smoking up your dreams with there's no flame, there's no fire, there's no passion. And if you've ever, we get to build a lot of campfires out here on the ranch. And if you've ever been building the fire and you're blowing on it, right? You ever build a fire, you blow on it, then all of a sudden, if you're outside, the wind changes and you're like, oh, my eyes. What the hell do my eyes have to do with the smoke? I was building a fire. Why do my eyes burn? Because the smoke got in your eyes. You're not going to get close enough to the flame. See, you're sensitized. You're sensitive to when things that don't fit you, they turn you off. If you've ever needed to build a campfire to get warm, you didn't care if the smoke got in your eyes. You turned away, you went, oh, whoa, that burned, and you went back to building your fire. How many of you have stopped building your fire? I don't need you to respond to that. How many of you know somebody who stopped building their fire? Those are the people that you say things like, you want to know what you say to people who have stopped building their fire? You want to know what you say? You say things like, this would be so good for them. You say things like, they could make so much money with this. You say things like, they really need my product or service. Those are people you know who have stopped building their fire. And what's the best thing you could do? Is the best thing you could do go to somebody who's wildly sensitive about their failures, their lacks, their limitations, and say, you should be building a fire. You should be doing what I'm doing. If you understood the psychological ramifications of you going out on social media saying you should be here, you should be doing this. If you understood the psychological ramifications of what you of you telling somebody, it's called the phenomenon, and it's called injected values. And how many people, here's the hard part, here's where you become sensitive to this whole thing in hoping that you become desensitized to their addiction to approval, is when you go tell people they should be doing this, you want them to do this with you, and you haven't produced $1, you haven't produced success $1, they can't even hear you. So my question then becomes, how do you become dangerously conscious in your business and not so sensitive that people around you that you think would support you and serve you and help you, and they're not? Why wouldn't people around you that love you and support you want to help you in your business? It's because of the way you're transitioning your knowledge into your desires, or actually your neediness. You are making them too sensitive to your business model that they don't understand. I'm going to get so much flack for this. So how do you raise the elevation? You don't make it about your business. See, when you understand, I wish I could just pour into you the understanding of human nature, the understanding of mental toughness, the understanding of addiction to approval, the understanding of neuroencoding, the understanding of the way your brain physically operates, the way that your brain physically transforms the body and causes pain and suffering and happiness and joy. Do you realize that when you're getting ready to go have romantic relationships, that's called neuroencoding? When certain parts of your body do certain things. Why does it happen when you're starting to go into a romantic interlude? And parts of the female body do things and parts of the male body do things. Why does that happen? It's called neuroencoding. You're having thoughts. Is he really doing a training about business? And he's talking about, yeah, because you all understand this. This is how basic and fundamental it is. Yet everybody's trying to teach you about algorithms. Tell me the last time you had to check the algorithms. Now, I understand there's the rhythm, right, program, where you do things at certain times of the time so that you don't wind up with certain results that you don't want. There's the rhythm method, but that rhythm method is still based upon you dealing with your neuroencoding. What is the rhythm method? Is he really talking about the rhythm method in building a business? Oh my God, are you kidding me? I got to get off of this. This is crazy. Well, this might be the thing that you need to hear. There is a season. You've heard Jim Rohn talk about a season, right? Spring always follows winter, and fall always follows summer. You don't know what season you're in. Everybody thinks they're always in fall. They always think they're in harvest. They always think they're in harvest. I'm in harvest. I talked to two people and they said, no. Did they? Or did you plant the seed? Was it a winter wheat you were planting? Too many of you think that every time you go have a conversation with somebody, it should be fall, it should be harvest. See, you're too sensitive to what everybody else tells you is happening in their business. If you want to become dangerously conscious, understand what season you're in when you're having a conversation with somebody. You might be in fall, you might be in harvest, you might be in great success, and your sensitivity winds up getting excitement. You confuse sensitivity with excitement, and you get excited and you go talk to people and they say yes, and they're in the middle of winter and can't afford the yes they just gave you. Anybody ever have that? You're speaking to somebody, you're in fall, you're in summer, you're planting, you're getting ready for harvest, and you're so excited and you know the harvest is coming, and you speak to somebody and they want to be in fall, but they're already in winter and they can't afford your business. Anybody ever have that happen? Drop a W in the chat. You're in harvest and they're in winter, and they say yes because they want to be in harvest. They want to be in fall. They want to be in joy. They become so hypersensitive to your greatness. They say yes, they say yes, they say yes, and then they can't do it because they're in winter. See, that's being unsensitive. And then you bitch about the fact that, I don't know, they got started, they bought the big package, they wanted to be in harvest with you, they wanted to be in fall with you, but the reality of their life is that they're in winter. And then you can't talk to them because you pissed them off. And they became hypersensitive to the fact that they're literally in winter, and they couldn't tell you they're in winter. Is this making sense? You getting this? You following this? So that's why you have to go say, you have to go have a conversation with a lot. You got to go plant seeds everywhere. How many of you, drop a 2 in the chat if you heard this? You've heard leaders get up on stage and they talk about their biggest leg being somebody they prospected for 6 years, 7 years. Drop a 2 in the chat if you've ever heard somebody, oh my God, my biggest leg, my biggest community, my best business partner, I talked to them for 6 years. So if you've heard that, then why are you trying to uproot people and move them out of winter and put them into spring? I have friends over in Australia. It's winter here in the central plains of the United States and a lot of other places, but in the United States, on this part of the hemisphere, it's winter. Over there, it's what? Somebody type it in the chat. What's it over in Australia? If it's winter here, what's it over there? So do I go over there and complain that why the hell are you at the beach? It's freezing out. It's not freezing out. It's not freezing out. How could you be going outside in shorts? Because it's 30 degrees centigrade? I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Why are you prospecting thinking everybody's in the same season as you? You are being insensitive. So if all of a sudden anybody could be in any season, aren't you talking about now preparing for the harvest? Maybe they're in harvest. I can tell you this, growing up on a farm, we used to farm about 600 acres. We planted corn. We didn't do wheat or anything. We did corn. We had cattle. We did corn and hay, 6,000 bales of hay in the summer. That's why I love school. I got a break. When we were harvesting corn and you had to get into the field, how many of you know that the fields might get wet? If you get rain, you can't get into the fields, right? Because you can't pull the heavy equipment through it because you turned everything over. The ground's not settled. If you plowed, the ground can become very soft with a rain because you plowed, you just turned everything over and disced it up. It's a nice soft, make it easy for the plants to grow. But if you've ever had a chance, if you've ever known that a storm was coming or this was coming and you needed to go harvest, you went and harvested. And sometimes you went and helped other people harvest. You ever know anybody who's ever gonna help other people harvest? We had our neighbors were Amish. They did everything. They didn't have a tractor. They did everything with horses. In the spring, if it was a wet spring and they couldn't get their planting because corn needs a certain amount, how many of us know the gestation period of a baby, right? How many of us know the gestation period of a seed to corn on a cob? How many of us know how long it takes to plant Green beans, you plant it as a seed. It takes so many days to grow. Strawberries, different. Everything has its own cycle, right? Why are you thinking everybody's in the same thing? Why are you being so unsensitive and causing people to become wildly sensitive to their not matching you? Is this making sense? So sometimes they would never ask for help, our neighbors, the Amish. We would just load up our tractors. We'd load up 3 tractors. We'd have about 13 to 14 plows that would be going, right? One was a 6 bottom, one was a 4 bottom, that was 10. The other one was a 3 bottom, so 13. And we would just start down the row. And before sunrise, because we could plow with lights on the tractor, if it was dry, we knew it was going to rain, we could get in there because they only had a 1 bottom plow. So we would go spend 5 hours and turn over their field and leave in the morning, and they would come and they would say, thank you. They never asked. You just did the right thing. How many of you, if you became more sensitive, you could do the right thing? How many of you became more dangerously conscious of people's moments in time and people's moments in history? What if you were the one they came to because of your sensitivity and understanding and compassion? What if you were the one they came to help them build their harvest? I can tell you this, the day harvest is over, the day the corn is in the silo, the day the bales are in the mow, and the day that everything is done, what's the thing that every farmer needs to do? After the hay is up, what do you need to do? You need to make sure you got fields for hay for next year. When the corn is done, what are you thinking about? Are you turning it over? Where do you get seed? What's next year's harvest? What's next year's planting? You're already on the calendar. Nobody sits there and goes, look at my harvest. Not a single farmer stands there and takes a day going, look at my harvest. Look at what I've done. You see what I've done? No, they're like, shit, the harvest is over. We got to get ready for planting. Too many of you get one prospect. You get somebody who buys a thing. They go, I got them. You got one seed in the ground that could produce millions. But you're not even going to take care of that seed, and you're not going to go plant others because that seed could be a dud, right? That seed could be a dud. But what do we say in our profession? Every dud knows a stud. Come on. Let's get sensitive. Let's understand. Become aware of what you're doing. Become aware. Find out what season people are in. I promise you, you ask most people, hey, listen, I'm just curious right now, as it relates to your income, what season are you in? When you're ready for harvest, how would you like a full harvest? Most everybody talks about multiple streams of income. Nobody has multiple streams of income. They'd like it. They want to do it. They study it. They buy programs for multiple streams of income. How many seeds do you have planted? How many seeds do you have planted? We're given abundance. You plant 1 seed of corn, up grows a corn stalk with 2 ears on it, depending upon whether it's a hybrid or not. Some of these things they make them do, but typically it's 2 ears of corn on a corn stalk, depending upon field corn was 2. Sweet corn, it's sometimes just 1, but how many seeds are on that kernel, are on that ear of corn? You planted 1. God gives you abundance all the time. The universe has abundance all over the place for you. Why are you counting on that 1 seed to turn everything into gold? And I would let you in on this little secret. I would always be planting. You want to become highly sensitive to your success? You want to become highly sensitive and become dangerously conscious? Ask yourself, what are you planting? What are you known for planting? Does that make sense? So become aware of what it is you need to plant today. And listen, it could be planting some self-confidence. What's your intention? Your intention is what you are saying, this is going to happen. When you plant with gratitude, It's already done. You can't, I hope you understand this. I hope I'm a farm boy from Ohio. I hope I do a good enough job of trying to get this across to you. When you plant with gratitude, you're telling the universe, thank you for it is done. It is done. You can't have gratitude in hoping. That's called hoping. You can't have gratitude in wishing. That's called wishing. True, absolute, the purest level of gratitude you could have is it's already done. Thank you for my harvest. Do you know what would change when you start to have conversations and you thank people with pure gratitude before you even begin the conversation? Hey, listen, I just got to say thank you for being here. You are proof from God, proof from the universe, proof from the highest sources that I believe in. You are proof that I have an abundance opportunity. Now, can I plant the seed properly? Can I nurture the seed properly? Can I make sure that the weeds are gone, the distractions are gone, right? What's one of Jim Rohn's favorite thing? The seed. The birds will get some. The birds. You'll cast some seeds and it'll go on rocky soil. It'll grow, but then it'll fall over because there's no deep roots. Are you taking care of the seeds you are planting? And that requires you to become sensitive to the seeds. Some things require full sun, some require shade, some require lots of water, some can be planted in arid, dry conditions. The ones that are planted in arid and dry conditions, what do we know? What's the most famous plant that gets planted in the arid and dry conditions? A cactus. Not something you want to hug all the time. They need their space, but they can store all their energy. Some of you have cactuses that you smother to death. You water them too much. Some of you have other plants that need water all the time and you're not there. Become sensitive to the plants, to the seeds you plant. Well, there's your farming conversation for the day. I am Sean Murphy, your farm boy misfit. I'll see you all where? Go to SeanGMurphy.com to get on the email list to learn more about the Dangerous Consciousness program coming to you very soon. I love you tons. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Till then, bye for now. YouTube, I love you tons. I appreciate you. Where's my mouse? Give me my mouse. I will see you where? I'll see you at the next event. Till then,